What's going on YouTube? ShadowFox4562 here, coming at you with another video. So we're driving back from YCS Charlotte, and me and Kyle, ParkerLad88, yeah, we're talking about some things and just kind of discussing. So I know the picture quality isn't that great because it's dark outside, but so just, I mean, if you want to do something, play test, or just listen to the audio, you can. So we're talking about decks that exist now and that have existed ever since the Duelist Alliance era, and how the game really has been power crept and no one's really talking about it and no one's really complaining about it. So we started off by talking about cards that were coming off the ban list that are errata, like Crush Card Virus, and we came to the determination that yes, Crush Card Virus back in 2008 may have very well been a extremely powerful card and ban-worthy, but now we don't even think that. I think we came to a general consensus that we don't even think it needed to be nerfed at all for it to come back. If it was if they decided to bring it back right now and it still had its old effect, I don't think it would even be played, really. The only deck that it would really hurt is Monarch, but it wouldn't hurt any of the other decks. And the reason why is because the game's evolved to where back in the day you used to have a bunch of boss monsters that you would drop after you expended resources and got resources into the graveyard. And you'd have a couple of extra deck threats, but now you have a bunch of little monsters that don't get hit by Crush Card Virus, and you work up into big monsters. Instead of having one castle, you have a bunch of little forts, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Would you like to add anything on that?
No, there's really not much else to say. I kind of agree with you on that. A lot of the boss, well, I can't really speak from coming from a back in the day Yu-Gi-Oh player. I didn't actually start getting into the actual card game until 5Ds came out and Synchros were already a thing, and like a lot of your boss monsters came from the extra deck. So I can't really speak much on that at the very least, but I mean, I was at least aware of it, and I mean, it makes a lot more sense. Crush Card was just retarded back in the day because, yeah, all your boss monsters were, in your main deck. Nowadays, yeah, it still wrecks some decks. I would even go as far as to say that I wouldn't bring back Crush Card at full power, but what Konami did to Crush Card, that wasn't an errata. An errata would have been something more like giving you the first part of Crush Card's effect. Like, look at your opponent's hand, the card's on their field, if it's 50% or more attack, it dies. And just left it at that. That would have been like a decent errata, something like that, where you don't get to look at your opponent's hand for 3 turns.
Yeah, they're literally taking cards that we used to play with and butchering them, like almost to the point where they are unplayable. Like, you look at cards like Sinister Serpent and Dark Magician of Chaos, and they have become, for the most part, virtually unplayable. And the reason why is because I don't know why, really. I don't know.
Yeah, they're too slow for the game right now. Like you said, DMOC. DMOC still has the effect where like you attack over some advantages, but it adds back the spell during the end phase, which is a strong effect, but
right.
Like, how in like regular mainstream decks, how would you get out the DMOC? And then what are you going to do with the spell during the end phase? Like, we're currently playing a game where you can't afford to wait till your next turn because you'll probably die, or you'll get locked out by like these retarded boards of Rathlesia plus Infinity, or like Narcs with the field skill that says you can't use the extra deck, and all of the kind of retardedness like that.
Well, right. I mean, that's not really what I really meant by what I said, I guess. Like, what I really meant was I'm starting to seriously lose faith in Konami's test and development department, because if they were doing a good job and they tested against the meta when these erratas came out, they would have seen that these cards could have come back with no errata, or close to no errata at all, and not even put a dent in competitive play. And I think that it's kind of like Konami's really living in the past about it, because they're remembering how much Crush Card did back in the day, and acting accordingly and saying, hey, we need to ban this, or we need to hit this, or we need to errata this, to the point where it's not even playable, instead of saying, okay, so these are the current meta decks, this is what's good, this is how this will interact with this, and do we really need to errata it? If you're going to go around and errata stuff just to bring it back, then I would prefer you not even errata at all and wait for the card and wait for the time and the format and the climate of the meta for you to for it to allow you to bring the card back and it not have that much impact on the game.
I would definitely agree with that. I had a comment I wanted to make, but I could not. Darn it, I could not remember what it was. Anyway, keep going.
Okay, let's talk about this. All right, so a card that was recently released, like 2 years ago, I think, 2 years ago. Soul Charge. All right, so Soul Charge, when it came out, was an absolutely and utterly broken card. People ran it at 3, people ran it at 2. It literally stole games away. So this is kind of segueing into the second part of the discussion video, is Konami is absolutely, if people are still out there denying power creep is a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, get your heads out of the sand. It is real. It's happening. It's always been happening, but now Konami has accelerated it so much to the point where cards are becoming unplayable nearly a year after they come out. I mean, with Soul Charge, it wasn't even a year. It was like 6 months. So if you look at Soul Charge now, it's limited. Is there any argument you can make, or any deck you can make an argument for it not to come back to 3? Like, you look around the meta right now. Okay, so you have Pepe. They're not going to run it because all their monsters go back to the extra deck. The only thing they can really do is just go more aggro with Exceed plays, which aren't necessarily optimal because you want to go into Ignister as well to bounce back problems. And then you look at Monarch. Monarch aren't going to run it. They don't need to run it. They probably wouldn't even run it at all.
They wouldn't really benefit from it very much. I mean, you could just bring back the little guys, but the little guys bring back themselves anyway.
Yeah.
And then Erebus, you can just use the ability to toss a Narc spell trap to get back the Narc you would summon. So it doesn't really benefit them at all.
And then you look at Cosmo. And being a Cosmo player, I can speak to this. The only thing that it would benefit you for is you would bring back, say, like a Farm Girl or something that got Psalm Warninged or Striked, and then you would banish it to summon a ship and get, like, it would be like it would really be going even with the pop because you had to use Soul Charge to bring back the Farm Girl. So, and you can't even attack with it, so it kind of impairs your ability to play the game. The only advantage Cosmo has is killing your opponent very, very quickly before Monarch's build momentum or Pepe outright kills you. And Soul Charge takes that away. There's really no deck I can think of right now that Soul Charge is good in. And
except for like rogue decks or like tier 2 stuff.
Yeah, and that's a scary thought. Like, think about Soul Charge and think about cards like it. Think about cards like Mirror Force, cards like Monster Reborn, MST. Twin Twister just came out. Who's playing Mystical Space Typhoon?
I sided in 1.
You sided in 1. Who else? Like, what MSTs do you see at regionals today? I saw none. All I saw was Twin Twister and Dragon Pit. And then you look at, I mean, there's just so many cards that are coming out, and they're literally replacing the last gen of cards, which I understand that's normal in a card game, but it's happening very rapidly. You look at a deck that was tier 1 last format in Satellar Knight. You look at a deck that was tier 1 last format, borderline. It was tier 0 last format in Necroz, and I understand that Necroz got hit and Tellar Knight got a little love tap with reinforcement of the army, but that should not be enough to make a deck go down. I remember a time when decks took 2, 3, sometimes even 4 ban lists to kick into the dirt. Like, Dragon Ruler did that. So, what has changed in 2 years that has forced cards to not even be playable? And the answer is really simple if I look at it. It's power creep, and it's extreme power creep, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for those of us who want a healthy meta.
Decks are just way too extreme these days from both sides. Now, I will make an argument. I actually like Twin Twister. I think Twin Twister is a very fair spell trap removal.
Oh, I agree with that.
card, yeah.
Absolutely.
But aside from that, it's just the decks are just too powerful these days. I saw this coming basically ever since Predictions came out. Ever since Duels Alliance came out, I knew that this game was going to a place that I wouldn't like just because of how blatantly overpowered both aspects of the game are. Case in point, you've got like Cosmo. All of their cards have built-in spell speed 2 effects that summon out giant beaters that can't be targeted. And then you have Pepe. Pepe do nothing but search and draw, search and draw, search and draw. And then they throw up all over the board and make these retarded boards. Then on the other hand, you have stuff like Narcs. Narcs have a field spell that says you can't use your extra deck. And it mixed with like a billion other effects. And then looking in the future, we have Error Mages, which is the other extreme. They have a single card for every aspect of something you can do. You can't activate spells, you can't activate traps, you can't tribute, no effect, so on and so forth.
Aphor Mages.
Huh?
Aphor Mages. You said Arrow Mages.
Oh, oops, sorry. Yeah.
Not Arrow Mages.
Aphor Mages. That's right. Error Mages. They were dead in the water.
Anyway, I mean, and I'm going to put a disclaimer in here because I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this. We're not relics in the game that are saying, oh, the game needs to go back to what it was. We're not saying that, and we know that we can't control this because it's Konami's game. They can do whatever they want, and I'll love this game no matter what. I'll keep playing. I love playing. I love the people, most of the people in this game, and I enjoy it. And will that ever change? Probably not, because Konami's a master marketer. Like, they really do know how to keep people in this game. But what my concern is that it's going to become, it already is pretty much a 2-3 turn for each player game. My concern is that that's all it's going to become. That there's not any grind decks. There are no decks that just can slow down anything. And we're pretty close with Monarchs, but even Monarchs are very quick. Like, they draw so much. They have such search power that after turn 2 or 3, the game's already decided. Especially if they draw Vanities or Majesty's Fiend. So, I mean, that's just food for thought today, and I'll let y'all leave comment down in the comment section below over Brandon snoring. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later. Shadow Fox out.